yourself for MSW Field Experience opportunities. I am Dina Berggren, one of the Career Services Advisors here at Walden. For those of you who are not familiar with the Career Services Center team, our mission is based on preparing our learners to navigate career transition through educating, coaching, and advising. Here is photos of our team members. My picture is on the left, and here you can see my colleagues, Nicole Skalski, Denise Pranke, Andrea Obricki, and our Senior Director of Career Services is Lisa Cook. Joining us here today is also Dr. Sebrena Jackson, Director of Field for the MSW program in the School of Social Work and Human Services. Dr. Jackson supports students and faculty in all aspects of the field experience process. In addition to her role at Walden, she also works with foster youth to expose them to the field of social work as a potential career choice, while also encouraging them to graduate from high school and pursue a college education. Dr. Jackson is a licensed clinical social worker who is active in many state and national social work organizations. She engages in research, publication, and presentations at the state and national levels. And with this intro, I would now like to hand it over to you, Dr. Jackson, to introduce the MSW Field Team and discuss today's objectives for this session.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Dina. We appreciate you and the Career Services Office partnering with us for this presentation. Well, hello. Good morning for some and good afternoon for others. To our MSW students, we're excited to be here on this call with you. As Dina has already shared, I'm the Director of Field. We have an awesome field team that is assembled to help you in this process. First, we have Dr. Donna McElveen, and then we have Dr. Pete Maher. They serve as field education coordinators. Each will say hello to you, and you can hear their voices as well. And I also want them to share which alphabet they work with in the process of field. Dr. McElveen?
Hi, everyone. I am Donna McElveen, and I am one of your field coordinators here in the field office in Minneapolis. And I work with all students entering field whose last names begin with A or through the letter L.
Hi, everyone. This is Pete Maher. I also work in the field office, and I work with students M through Z, and enjoy chatting with you all and working with you to find excellent field placements.
Thank you both. Again, they're awesome two field coordinators. And again, most of you already know, but for those who don't, their primary role is to work with you through this process from receiving your application. Dr. Maher and Dr. McElveen process those applications. They work closely with you with the field agency and making sure that paperwork is completed properly so that you're ready to go when you're scheduled for field. So feel free to communicate with them throughout your process. Well, let's move forward and talk about our agenda for today. Our next slide, Dina. Our purpose for the conversation today is we want to do a few things. We want to define the purpose of field experience for you. We want to provide some strategies on how to conduct a proactive search for a potential field site. We want to talk to you about how to market yourself and how to market Walden University as a viable resource. We want to help to create or to talk to you about creating tailored application materials that highlight your unique qualifications, because no matter where you come from, what your background is, we believe all of you have unique qualifications that will prepare you for field. And finally, we want to assist you in the development of a step-by-step plan to help land that field experience site that you'd like to be in. So we're going to focus on those areas today. So Dina and I will kind of go back and forth throughout the presentation and sharing information with you. First, let's talk about the purpose of field experience itself. Again, most of you have heard, if you participated in our orientations before or you've read your field manual, you know that CSWE has designated field as the signature pedagogy of our program of social work education, which basically means field is very, very important in the process. It's really where I like to say the rubber meets the road. So the purpose of field is really to give you an opportunity not only to fulfill your program requirements, but it's to give you an opportunity to develop social work practice skills. Throughout your courses, you've already heard and you'll continue to hear that it's important that you develop program competencies and practice behaviors that are specific to social work. And field is where you get an opportunity to continue to develop those competencies. Field experience gives you an opportunity to also apply social work theory to practice, and that's really important because you learn the theories in the classroom and you learn about a lot in your classroom environment. And field is where you actually get an opportunity to practice what you're learning in the classroom. Next, field also gives you an opportunity to expose yourself just to the social work field. I know some of you may have bachelor's degrees in social work, so you have had exposure. You may be working in social service environment, but others have never had a social work experience. So field gives you an opportunity to really kind of test the waters before you graduate. And the last couple of things that sometimes I think students don't always think about, but we want you to think about on the front end of your process, is field is also an opportunity for you to network, for you to gain mentoring or to meet potential mentors for your future, and also references. As you move forward to apply for jobs, oftentimes your field experience will be the place where you're able to obtain references, you're able to network to learn about potential job opportunities. And field also gives you an opportunity to build your marketability. It's where you develop some specific skills, there's some specific things that you're able to do that you're going to be able to place on your resume. So again, field is a very, very important part of this educational process, and we really want you to take it seriously and treat it like you would a professional job experience. But it's important that you, as you're moving forward in this process and trying to decide on what type of agency you'd like to do your field placement, you really need to know your target. I think the field education coordinators have started conversations or have had many conversations with students about which way to start in this process. And so we encourage you to think about, which area of social work practice that you're interested in, what population would you be interested in working in, and starting to do some research about that. And once you narrow down the topic or the area of practice, then you can begin your search of specific agencies in your community that work with that population or provide that type of service. And so this process really requires that you do some homework, you do some legwork, you use your skills, to do some research to find out who's providing those services in your agency. And hopefully you're able to gather information about those particular sites. You also need to know in terms of your target, the site requirements that in terms of our expectations for your site. We want to make sure that you're involved or you're placed at a field site that will provide you a variety of assignments so that you're able to develop. Again, it goes back to those competencies and practice behaviors. If you haven't seen those, please go back to your MSW Field Manual, go to the MSW Student Handbook, and you're able to see what those competencies and practice behaviors are, because those are the things that will guide you in your placement. We also, in terms of site requirements, the site needs to provide an opportunity for you to work with individuals, to work with groups, to work with families, and to work with communities. And again, we know every site won't have all of these components, but we really want you to, if at all possible, to be exposed. So some of these sites may actually work with other agencies in the community that do these things, but we want you to have a really broad experience. It's important at a minimum, and this is a CSWE requirement, is that you're able to obtain 1 hour of weekly supervision. And that means that you'll sit down with a person at the agency to talk to them about what's happening with your experience and really have a conversation with someone. And that's at least 1 hour every week. Of course, you can do that much more, but at least 1 hour. You want to make sure that the site has adequate office space for you, a place that you're able to actually go in and work. You have your own little desk area. Of course, it doesn't have to be anything fancy, but again, just the basics. So you have access to supplies, you have access to a telephone, because we don't want you using your cell phones at the agency. You should have access to an agency phone. And last, we want to make sure that your site provides opportunities for training. When you first get there, we want to make sure that the agency gives you an orientation of their agency. Especially we want to make sure that they talk to you about safety at that agency. And any other training that they may offer, we want you to be able to take advantage of and be a part of. And again, if you have questions about that, we'll move forward and we'll answer those questions at the end. So those are just some basic requirements. We also want to talk to you in terms of some of the ways to research a potential field experience site. Next slide, please.
Okay, and so before we move on, let's get some input from our audience. Let's find out what are some ways to research a potential field experience site. Please use the questions box to share how you have researched potential sites in the past. We'll give it just a minute for all of you to type in responses, and then we will share some of these responses. So what are some ways to research a potential field experience site? What has worked for you in the past? And we are still waiting for all of you to type in. Okay, looks like we're getting some responses. Volunteer and network, absolutely. Volunteer at various facilities. Look at their website, so review the potential site's website to learn more about their history, their mission, their client population. Find out about some of their challenges that they may have. United Way Agency website is a great resource. Excellent. This is definitely a good one to check out. Take a look at the United Way and other organizations. Networking, local agency contacts and volunteering. I have gone on the internet to find what facilities are available. I also call some to make sure that they will work with my goals. So that is great. Being proactive and actually calling sites and talking to them to see if they would match your goals and what you're looking for to complete a site. And a lot of comments about the internet, looking at nonprofits. I went to a local MSW meeting and met a lot of local practitioners. That is wonderful. Networking through professional associations such as the National Association of Social Workers, and also taking a look at their member directories, reaching out to other professionals. Through coursework assignments that require interaction with an agency, okay, so through your academic program, you may be encouraged to do so. County and volunteer and do research for the Post, okay, and Chamber of Commerce. The Walden University Career Services Center website is a good site for that, absolutely. If you visit to help you research potential sites, job opportunities, career options, and other career-related topics. I gathered great research when interviewing an MSW for an assignment. I would schedule interviews for future possible internships. So informational interviews are very helpful in the process. Talking to other practitioners and potential sites. Okay, more about nonprofits and internet. Okay, and also Walden Library. And finally, okay, and again, just references to Walden University Career Services Center website. Okay, so thank you everyone for these great comments. Networking is really key with family, friends, and coworkers. Reach out to other Walden students and students from your alma mater are some other ideas. And then social media such as LinkedIn and joining LinkedIn groups and doing people searches on LinkedIn or using Google are all really good strategies to help you research potential sites. Okay? And with that, we're going to go on here. And, yep, go ahead, Dr. Jackson. She'll now share her insights into site supervisor requirements.
Thank you, Dina. Those were all wonderful suggestions, and I encourage you to continue to share those with your colleagues or your peers on your Facebook page and other places where you communicate. Those are all great examples. We look forward to the day as our program grows that we have this wonderful database of agencies where you guys have been placed, and students in the future will be able to go to those databases to also our social work database to actually search for placement. So we look forward to building that, but we appreciate your taking the initiative and moving forward in this process of identifying agencies. Well, this area in terms of site supervisor requirements is really one that I want to touch on because I think there's been some miscommunication among students about it. And so I need your help in making sure we get the word out on, again, our student Facebook page and other places in terms of the requirement for the site supervisor. Our preference is that an MSW is available at that particular site. We do realize in some communities, in some nonprofit organizations, in some rural communities, you know, an MSW is not available. That's why you're in school. That's why you're going to be the one to go to work at those agencies and to work in your community. But until that happens, until you graduate, what we're going to do, if that agency is a good agency placement, we believe that you can develop the program competencies and skills, practice behaviors that you need to gain, then our university, Walden, our social work program, will provide the additional supervision for you. So again, we'd like for you to seek out agencies that have an MSW on staff, but if you find a great placement that you think will be a great learning experience for you and they do not have an MSW, then your field liaison, who will be the faculty member that teaches your field seminar course, that person will then serve as your MSW supervisor and make sure that you get the social work perspective. The other piece that we want to make sure of that the person that is supervising you does have at least 2 years practice experience beyond their MSW or beyond their master's degree or beyond their bachelor's degree in some cases if we decide to approve them. They need to have practice experience because it's difficult to teach you about practice if that person hasn't had any practice experience. So we do want to make sure, even if the person ends up with a degree in another social service area, that person does have practice experience to share with you. And finally, this is one that I've heard students say, but it's not true, so we want to make sure that we let students know a social work license is not required for your supervisor. It's wonderful if the social worker has a license. That just makes the experience even richer for you. So if you find a person with a master's degree and their license, that's wonderful, but that is not a requirement. That is not required by CSWE, nor is it required by our program. Because again, we do understand that we're reaching students in our program who serve in areas that may not have MSWs or may not have licensed clinicians on their team. So again, that's not a requirement in order for you to do your placement there. We're going to move forward with the conversation, and now Dina's going to talk about a subject that we don't necessarily always talk about in social work, but I think is one that's really important. She's going to talk to you about professional branding and how you brand yourself. So, Dina?
Thank you, Dr. Jackson. Now that we've talked about researching the site, let's focus to your professional brand or what makes you stand out from other field experience applicants and social work students. To help us do this, let's first complete a poll. How well do you know your professional brand? Yes, I know my unique strengths, abilities, and value and can market them effectively. I have some ideas about my brand, but I'd like to develop it further, or no, professional branding is new for me. Can you tell me more? So let's just give it a few seconds here for all of you to make those selections, and then we'll share the results. Okay, the results are still coming in. So we'll give it a couple more seconds here. Okay, so hopefully most of you were able to make your selections. We will go ahead and close the poll at this time and share the results. So it looks like 42% said I have some ideas about my brand, but I'd like to develop it further. 36%, no, professional branding is new for me. Can you tell me more? And 22%, yes, I know my unique strengths, abilities, and value and can market them effectively. So today we will learn more about professional branding and how it can help you in the search process. Knowing your brand helps you stand out from others and market yourself to potential sites. Your professional brand is what makes you stand out from other applicants. It's what you're best known for. It includes your greatest strengths and how you can add value to others. In other words, it's what is unique about you, your interests, skills, your personality and values, your academic achievements, your related experience, whether it's volunteer or work experience, professional contributions, especially through professional associations, which are very important in your professional development, your community involvement and how you give back to others, and specialized knowledge areas. Maybe you're very tech savvy or have great communication skills, or you're very detail-oriented. Those type of factors play into your brand. As part of your field experience search, you will also need to be able to market Walden's brand. Dr. Jackson, could you share some tips with us on how to educate potential sites about Walden?
Sure. One of the things that we deal with, and I know students have had lots of conversations about, and we have to share with the community, is about our accreditation status. And one of the things I encourage students to do is to not necessarily try to get into a detailed conversation with potential agencies about candidacy or our accreditation status, but just let them know that our program is in candidacy, which means that we are moving forward. We got approval in the first phase of our process, and we're moving forward with our accreditation, and we expect to be fully accredited in the next few years. We also encourage you to share, if questions are asked, share with the potential agency or that supervisor that Walden is a regionally accredited institution. So although our program is in this accreditation phase, our institution is accredited and is excelling in terms of accreditation. We also encourage you to learn more about the social change mission of Walden University and to share that with potential supervisors, because key to social work, one of the key areas of even our code of ethics talks about social change and the importance of social change in our work with the clients that we serve. Our work and the mission of our institution goes hand in hand, and many folk in the community don't know about that. You can also share that we have qualified faculty members teaching in our program. Every person that teaches in our social work program has a doctorate degree. Most of them also have an MSW degree, which is important. So you're being taught by qualified faculty and staff. Also share with them that we have a diverse global perspective here at Walden University. We have national and international student population, so our population tends to be more diverse than the average traditional brick-and-mortar campus. Also highlight, as you're talking with folk about our program, highlight our residency experience. And if you haven't had an opportunity to experience residency, you're going to love it. We had our first residency just a few weeks ago in Indianapolis, and it was a wonderful, wonderful experience for the students and the faculty. It really gives you an opportunity to connect with other students, to connect with the faculty, and really, students have said to really identify as a social worker. So that's a highlight. It's one of the things that separates our online program from other programs. And then finally, definitely share that we have a rigorous curriculum. I know you already know all too well, that instructors have very high expectations of you. There's a lot of writing. We have our cases, which make our curriculum unique as well. So again, there are great things that you're able to share about Walden. I encourage you to also encourage the supervisor to go to our Walden site We're in the process now of developing materials that you'll be able to send out or take with you if you go on an interview. We're developing those materials. Hopefully we'll have those soon. But we want to just, again, encourage you not only to market yourself, but also market Walden University. I think you have an institution that you can be proud of. So we're going to take another quick poll, I believe, and Dina's going to lead us as we take another quick poll in terms of some common methods used by site supervisors to fill field experience positions. Dina?
Thank you, Dr. Jackson. Our next poll is a quiz. So the questions are, what is the most common method used by a site supervisor to fill a field experience position? Is it to review cold resumes, contact potential interns at universities, or is it to review qualifications and letters of recommendation to determine whether the applicant is a match? So let's give it a few seconds here, and the responses are coming in. Okay. All right, we're going to go ahead and close the poll and share the results. Okay, so 88% of you said to review qualifications and letters of recommendation to determine whether the applicant is a match. This is the correct answer. Site supervisors want to know how your skills, experience, and academic background directly match their needs. This means that every application you send out needs to be tailored toward the specific site. If you diligently research the site and site supervisor, identify what is unique about you, and share the value of your education, you'll be able to communicate the fit between what you have to offer and the needs of your target site. Dr. Jackson, could you tell us a little bit more about how to convey this fit to potential sites?
All right, students. One of the things that's important as you're moving forward in this process is, you want to make sure that the agency is a good fit for you as well as a good fit for the agency. So, there's some questions that you need to ask yourself as you're moving forward in that process. The first question is, what values and contributions can you bring to the site? Because not only are you going to be at that site to learn and to grow and to, learn those competencies and practice behaviors, but you're also going to bring some things to the site as well. So what contributions can you make? And so that when you have conversations with a supervisor, you're able to talk about maybe some of your past experiences, whether they were in social work or in business or other environments, you still have contributions that you can bring to the site. Ask yourself and answer the question, what knowledge and skills will be most useful to you? What are some things that you're wanting to learn specifically that you think that you'll be able to gain from working at this particular site? Do your qualifications match their needs? And the good thing about this is that, unlike a job experience, field is an opportunity for you to learn. So the expectation is not that you already have all the answers or that you're already qualified for the position. We just want to know, and the agency wants to know, that you're eager to learn. You want to get in and learn about that population. You want to get in and learn about the agency and how they provide those services. So that's really what the qualifications or the match is really about. And then will you fit in with the people and the culture? You have to decide what environment you feel most comfortable in. Do you feel comfortable in a prison environment? Do you feel comfortable in a nonprofit agency that has hours late at night? Do you feel comfortable working with the homeless population? What environment do you feel most comfortable in? Do you feel comfortable in an environment where clients actually come to the office and they're seen in the office? Or would you fit in with a culture where the agency does home visits, where you're required to go out with a supervisor or go out with an agency to actually go in the community and visit homes? These are things that we want you to think about as you're searching for a potential site. And finally, does the site afford you the opportunities you need to complete the program requirements? And that's the most important thing. I always share with students that the most important thing in this process, if you're not able to land the agency, the dream agency that has the population that you think you might want to work with, the most important thing is that you're in an environment where you're able to learn and develop your practice skills, learn those competencies, and you're able to practice as a social worker. The skills are transferable regardless of the agency environment. The social work skills that you'll learn and should learn in an agency, those skills are transferable. So as you're moving forward in this process, I don't want you to get stuck on having to have the perfect agency or the perfect population. It's really about an agency affording you the opportunity to complete the program requirements, and that's just the number of hours that you need and the experiences that you need to develop into a professional social worker. So please keep those things in mind. And again, you can always have conversations with Dr. Maher and Dr. McElveen and myself if you have questions or if you're wondering if an agency would be a good fit for you. So going forward, next we're going to have Dina to talk about just how to create some application materials as you're moving forward in this process, in case you want to send some things out to an agency or if you're able to meet face-to-face, we want you to have some materials together when you go to meet with those agencies. Dina?
Great. Thank you, Dr. Jackson. We'll cover how to create your career portfolio today. We'll talk about cover letters and resumes to increase your chances of landing a site. So why take the time to create a career portfolio versus simply sending out a resume to potential sites? A career portfolio helps set you apart from other applicants. While everyone else is sending their resume, you're taking that extra step to create a portfolio of your work. It leaves a lasting impression. It also allows the site to learn more about you. So if you present actual samples of your work, they can learn the extent of your knowledge and the quality of your academic program. And it also includes accomplishments and achievements to reference during an interview. So portfolios make it easier in the interview to show specific examples. And Dr. Jackson, could you discuss what should be included in a career portfolio for field experience?
Okay, what we'd like for you to put together, and again, this is in partnership. Career Services has tons of resources, and Dina will share those toward the end of the presentation. If you don't have these things developed already, we want you to do this. And again, this is preparation for field, but I also we're spending this time because we're not only thinking about you and field experience, but we're thinking about you when it comes time for graduation and you're ready to move into your career as a social work professional. So this is a good time to start to develop a career portfolio. And in that portfolio, we'd like for you to include a cover letter. And we're going to talk a little bit more about the cover letter. We're going to give you an example as we move forward in the presentation today. We'd like for you to also include a resume. And we'll talk about that some more because, again, these are things that highlight you and sell you to the agency. We want you, in terms of Walden specific items, we'll share some information with you in terms of the program itself. You'll see on the website. You can also share the link to the Walden website, specifically the social work program itself. You can create a page that has specific requirements about the program in terms of what courses that you have to take. Anything that you think will highlight and help you in the process. Again, we're really introducing not only you to the community and to the agency, but we're also introducing Walden and the MSW program specifically. So as much information as you can share with them about yourself and Walden and the program, that's helpful. We'd like for you to include any other application papers or assignments or things that you think will be helpful for them to know. If you've written a paper in your 6,000 class and you wrote it about that particular population and you're proud of that paper and you want to include that information in your portfolio, that's great as well. If you'd like to have letters of recommendation, if you volunteered at other places before, or if you've worked in other environments before and you think it will be helpful, if you have a person that could give you a great letter of recommendation that you can include in your portfolio, it's never too early to start collecting that information. And again, these aren't things that the agency requires of you, but these are things that can separate you from other students. Many of you live in communities where there are other online programs, and there are also traditional campuses. So this conversation is really about helping you to create some things that will separate you from other potential students who are applying to become to do their field placement in the agencies, as well as, again, in the future, having future applicants. So, again, letters of recommendation and a copy of the MSW Field Manual. And again, if you don't have a copy, always have information in your cover letter or on a one-pager that will give them the link or will tell them how to get to the MSW Field Manual. So these are some things that you can include in your career portfolio. And again, these things take time, but we have lots of tools and resources to help you to create them. And Dina's going to talk a little bit more about those tools and where do you go to get that information to create your portfolio.
Career Services offers an optimal resume system to help create online portfolios to share with site supervisors and other social work professionals. You're able to access Optimal Resume via the Career Services Center website or directly through the WaldenU.OptimalResume link that is featured here. You can also print out your portfolio documents, organize them in a professional-looking binder, and bring your tactile portfolio with you to the interview. That way you can show potential supervisors specific examples of your work and achievements and leave a lasting impression. Next, let's take a closer look at two components of the portfolio, the cover letter and the resume. Provided here is the sample cover letter for MSW Field Experience. Your cover letter should be written in standard business letter formatting, which is presented here. It should be 3 to 5 paragraphs in length and fit into one page. At a minimum, your contact information should include your name, mailing address, phone number, and a professional email address. You may also want to include a link to your LinkedIn profile if you have one, and or a link to your online career portfolio. In the introductory paragraph, you want to identify the purpose of your letter. You also want to mention how you heard about this opportunity, especially if another social work professional or networking contact referred you to that specific site. You want to briefly describe why you're interested in the specific site. So in this case, our applicant, Jacqueline, mentions that I am impressed with your reputation as a leading provider of mental health services in the Detroit area since 1978. This shows that she has done some research into this particular site. And in the second and third paragraphs, you want to mention Walden's regional accreditation. So Walden is accredited through the North Central Association. You want to describe your social work program and mention the quality of instruction you are receiving. Emphasize your academic achievements, coursework that you've completed, and also knowledge areas that you've gained. You also want to reference volunteer or paid experience and your transferable skills. So here Jacqueline says, I have volunteered at a domestic crisis center for over a year, and I am certified in domestic violence advocacy. So she is specifically highlighting her experience in social services and working with different populations. The fourth and fifth paragraphs should indicate your enthusiasm and specify the practical experience you'd like to gain through your internship. You also want to reference your career portfolio and your resume. And finally, in the last paragraph, provide the MSW Field Director contact information for Dr. Jackson, and also conclude with a general statement expressing interest in the future discussion. That way, if the potential site has additional questions, they can reach out to the field director, and you are requesting to continue being able to convey your skills to them. By following this format and tips, you can create a targeted, well-written letter that conveys your unique value as an applicant. The second document to include in your portfolio is your resume. Your resume is your marketing tool. It captures your skills and qualifications and conveys your professional brand. How will you organize your document to reflect your unique abilities and strengths? Before you share your document with potential supervisors or other professionals in the social work field, we recommend that you watch the Tailoring Your Resume for MSW Field Experience video that is located and available on the Career Services Center's archived webinars page. This step-by-step video will instruct you on how to tailor your documents, create and organize your main resume sections, and apply useful formatting tips to create a stellar document. Here are a few resume sections you may want to consider including in your document. Your contact information with your name, mailing address, phone number, and email. A summary of qualifications that specifically highlights your greatest strengths and achievements as related to your target site. An education section that lists your degrees in reverse chronological order. Internships you've completed or volunteer experience related to social services. Professional experience if you have professional experience in the field or in a related field. Honors and awards. Any certifications or licensures you may currently hold. And affiliations through professional associations. Refer to the Tailoring Your Resume for MSW Field Experience video for visual examples and a list of additional resume sections you may want to include in your document. To view additional resume templates for ideas, visit the Resume Sample section in OptimalResume. Here you'll find resumes by categories such as social work, community and social services, and psychology. Reviewing these samples will provide additional insights on how to strengthen your materials. So now that you have your portfolio ready, what other tools can help you market your skills? Share your many accomplishments with potential sites by developing and practicing your CART stories. To craft these stories, think of a challenge or problem that you faced, the action you took to address that challenge, and what was the outcome or what was the result? Who was impacted by your actions? Were people served or specific goals met? Quantify whenever possible. And finally, be sure to tie in the example to your future role as an intern. You want to write down your stories and memorize them, and also practice them. Avoid using general terms without examples. For instance, terms such as hardworking or great communication skills or strong work ethic. Instead, you want to be specific. You want to show, not tell, by focusing on your accomplishments. And here's an example of a CART story. In 2007, I volunteered at Lawrence House, a facility for mentally ill and chemically dependent adults. During my time there, I recruited 10 patients to plant a permanent vegetable garden at the facility. My initiative helped promote physical activity, healthy eating, and sustainability, thereby improving both the physical and mental well-being of patients. As an intern at your facility, I hope to practice counseling techniques under supervision and further help mentally ill adults take initiative in their daily lives. So you can see here how our applicant here ties in her challenge, action, and results specifically to the facility. As an intern at your facility, I hope to practice counseling techniques under supervision. So CART stories can help you walk the talk and show that you're qualified for a targeted position. So what are some other considerations when researching your field experience site? Richard Bowles, who is one of the gurus in career development, in his book, The Job Hunter Survival Guide, he discusses the top 5 search methods for finding a job. And these search methods can also be translated into the field experience search. In other words, you want to take a holistic approach to your search. Take time to identify your skills and interests, your goals, research various environments where you'd like to work, research potential sites, connect with people, work on marketing your brand. All of these factors are important in your search. Build a network of social work professionals and ask for their input. So get feedback from others. Research sites and contact them by phone or site visits, so be proactive. Expand your search. Reach out to any site that interests you, even sites that maybe other students have not explored before. Maybe there are some opportunities there, so be resourceful. And ask social work professionals in your network about field experience opportunities. So reach out to others for any tips or suggestions. Also keep in mind that field experience sites are looking for well-written materials, evidence of academic success, strong letters of recommendation, prior work or volunteer experience, and also they are seeking interns who are ethical, enthusiastic, and possess strong interpersonal skills. So share your enthusiasm during your search. Okay, gear up for your search by creating a branded introduction and practicing that introduction, and here's a link to help you do that. Practice your cart stories. Strengthen your online presence. Becoming active on LinkedIn is important. LinkedIn right now is currently the largest professional networking site. LinkedIn can also help you research potential site supervisors, connect with other counseling students and social work students and professionals, participate in discussions, and gain valuable insider tips. So if you're not on LinkedIn, we strongly encourage you to create a profile and start using LinkedIn to gain that insider information. And finally, don't wait too long to start your field experience search. Be active and intentional in your efforts. So how do you make the initial contact with a potential site supervisor? Here's an example of language you could use when setting up an informational meeting. Hi, my name is Jane, and I'm a graduate student pursuing a master's degree in social work at Walden University. I received your name from Mary Smith, and I understand that you're engaged in counseling clients with bipolar disorder and schizophrenia. I'm wondering if we could meet for 20 to 30 minutes to discuss your insights into your specialty and the possibility of my completing a field experience at your site. So as you can see here, this is a very friendly, non-threatening approach. To pull everything together that we discussed today, we would like to present a step-by-step approach you could apply during your own search. Contact your site supervisor directly, either through phone or in person. Arrange an informational meeting, either face-to-face or over the phone, or using Skype. The use of technology is increasing, so Skype is another method to connect. Dress professionally and provide targeting application materials. Meet with the site supervisor to share your cart stories. Ask questions and bring articles, bring information to add value to them, and most importantly, express your interest. Leave your career portfolio so they can continue reviewing your qualifications. Follow up with a thank you letter either by email or phone, and land the field experience. Okay, so maybe you need some additional ideas. Tell everyone you know that you're searching. You never know, maybe a family member, a friend, a coworker, or someone in your community will have a tip for you. Join special interest groups related to your field, which can include professional associations such as the National Association of Social Workers, and also LinkedIn groups such as the Social Work Network or the Global Network of Social Work Students. And there are many other LinkedIn groups out there you can join related to social work and social services in general. Ask experts for advice. Use phone directories to locate clinics and facilities in your area. Expand your search geographically, the number of facilities you're targeting. Basically, knock on more doors. So some doors will open to new opportunities. And be open to new settings and working with new populations as well to expand your search. Work on your professional image. In other words, assume the brand of your future role. And also practice, practice, practice. Partner up with another student or professional and practice your site search and your interview skills. Okay, for additional assistance with your field experience process, you can contact Donna and Pete, who are on the program here today, and they will also be able to provide insights and assistance for you. Visit the Career Center website. It was mentioned that through the questions box that we offer many resources to help you. We have a resources tab, a resumes and CVs tab with a lot of information. You can schedule an appointment with us, visit our Optimal Resume system, and also watch our webinars and webinar recordings. So we offer over 50 career services archived webinars on a variety of topics like using Optimal Resumes, Resume Builder, and Portfolio Builder and other functions, building your professional brand, using LinkedIn, as you could see here, many others. And there are many, many more on our site. And then get connected to us by joining the Career Services LinkedIn group, following us on Twitter, reading success stories on our blog, and registering on the Optimal Resume system. You can also access everything from the Career Services Center website. And with that, I'd like to take a few minutes that we have here and open it up for some questions that have come in. So the first question is, what if my experience is not in the field of social work? Or what if I don't have any professional experience? And I can try to address that. If you don't have experience, if you are a career transitioner, on your resume and also inside your cover letter, you really want to focus on your transferable skills, mention those knowledge areas from your academic program, list relevant coursework, and also ideally you want to gain some experience, at least through volunteering. So there are many organizations out there who need volunteers. The Career Center website Resources tab has a full page titled Volunteer Opportunities. You can also just contact various facilities and organizations and see if there are some opportunities for you to volunteer to start gaining experience. And through volunteering, you can also make and strengthen your networking connections with other social services professionals. And that can also help you with your site search and your future job search or career advancement. Okay. Many sites have affiliations with universities in their area. How does Walden help overcome this? And Dr. Jackson, do you want to take that one?
Yeah, I'm happy to take that one. I think part of what we're trying to do with this conversation is to prepare you for that. I think many of those sites, although they already have agreements or they have affiliations with other institutions, they're still open to working with students. And so it's just a matter of you making that call and then also connecting us with that. Once you gather the information about that supervisor, you connect the field education coordinators with them so they can have some other conversations with that person to introduce Walden and our social work program to them. Again, most agencies are still eager to work with students. They'll be excited to learn about a new program, particularly an online program, because many of them in the agency may want to get their MSW degree. So they'll be open to hearing information about a new program. So I wouldn't go in thinking that they're not going to open the door because of that. They may tell you about those relationships, but it's okay. I think if you do these things to prepare yourself, I think you'll put yourself in a position to be received by the agency.
Great. And another question that came in, will sites that are located on military bases, such as family advocacy and family support centers, qualify as approved locations?
We'll have to, I would want you to complete that process. Just talk to them first and ask if they're interested or open to having an MSW student to do their placement there. And if they say yes, list that person's name and contact information on your application, and one of the field education coordinators will reach out to them. I will say that right now, the VA hospital itself, we're not able to partner with yet until we get our full accreditation. I'm not sure if that's the same with those military, some of those programs. So we're really taking it a program by program, case by case kind of situation. So if you're interested, go ahead and make contact with them, to introduce yourself, tell them what you're wanting to do. If they're open to it, then one of the field education coordinators will follow up with them about the details of our program.
An interesting question came in. Will a drug charge or felony affect someone's ability to get their MSW license?
That's a great question. It really depends on your particular state. Every state is different when it comes to license. So I encourage you to definitely go to your state board and read their information, because it's not a one-size-fits-all in the case with criminal backgrounds or drug issues. In some cases, it can affect the situation. In most cases, you're asked on the application to share that experience, but it doesn't automatically exclude you from license. But I would check your particular state to know what your state requirements are. But the most important thing is to be honest about it on the application when you're asked. The most important thing is to be honest about it. But check your particular state board to see what their requirements are. And I was reminded by Dr. Maher that we are partnering already. Some of our students who will start their placements in March, we are partnering with some military programs. So that is a opportunity for us to do that. So if you're interested, please just make that call and we'll move forward with you.
Okay, great. And here's another question. When do we need to have the possible field placement contacted by? Specifically, a site asked me when we need the placement by, such as if I am scheduled for field placement in June.
If you're scheduled for field placement in June, your application materials are due to the field office by February 28th. So if you haven't, hopefully you've already started the process, but if you haven't, over these next couple of weeks, you really need to kind of step on the gas and move forward in making contact with agencies. Because again, your application and your materials, and that would be your resume and your liability insurance certificate, that is due to our office by 5 p.m. Eastern on Friday, February 28th.
Okay, and so for the sake of time, we'll maybe take 2 more questions here. We have other questions that have come in, but I know we're past the hour now. So the next one is, does it matter the kind of organization I am applying to?
It does matter. What I would encourage you to do, if you have specific questions, I would encourage you, for time's sake, to reach out to Dr. McElveen or Dr. Maher and email them, and they're happy to call you or respond to your specific questions about an agency. But yes, it does matter the type of agency. Again, it goes back to our program competencies and practice behaviors. So please reach out to them.
Great. And our last one will be, after my coursework, what steps will I take to be a licensed MSW?
Wonderful question. And again, it really depends on your particular state. So I encourage all of you to go to your state board. You know, just Google state board, social work state board, and they'll tell you the specific requirements. In most states, you're required to, after you get your MSW, you're required to take an exam. And once you pass that exam, you're able to get your first level of licensure. And one of the things that we're hoping to do in the field office and in the social work program is, before you graduate, before you complete this process, we're going to share some more information with you about the steps in terms of preparation for licensure. And also at residency, we'll share some more information with you about that. So great question. Do a little Google search, but we'll also talk to you about that at residency. And hopefully we'll see you at the Dallas residency. All of you who are planning to start field in June, we'd love to see you at the Dallas residency.
Great. Okay, so we will go on and proceed and conclude today's program. So for those of you who would like to learn more, we have a reference list with some of the resources for professional branding. We discussed Richard Bowles. Internships.com is a great site for internship advice, and also Susan Wickham's Interview Magic are some of the resources we used, and we encourage you to take a look at them and utilize them in your search. And with that, I want to thank all of you for joining us here today. I want to thank Dr. Jackson and the field team at Walden, and we wish all of you a successful field experience site search, and please reach out to us for additional services and questions. So thank you very much, and have a wonderful day.